Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC Flyweight division, sponsored by Combat Corner and F Street. And now introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist. He stands 5 feet 7 inches tall and officially weighed in at 125.2 pounds. And he steps into the APFC cage tonight to make his professional debut. He is fighting out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, Dominic Heath. And across the cage, his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist. He stands 5 feet 4 inches tall. He stepped on the scale and officially weighed 125.2 pounds. He also steps into the cage tonight, making his professional debut and fighting out of Round Lake Beach, Illinois, Joe Arroyo. And your referee in charge is Tom DeVellis.
Tom DeVellis, third man inside for this flyweight bout between Dom Heath and Joe Arroyo. Pro debuts on both sides. Heath in the black and red trunks. Joe Arroyo also in the black and red.
Arroyo stalking the center of the cage here. Heath on the outside, just measuring, switching stances, giving Arroyo different looks here. Arroyo switching level changes, feinting.
Beautiful kick from Heath there. Love this quick movement, right? These fast reactions from Dom Heath.
Hey, do that too. Shake it out, do it more.
Heath doing a great job moving laterally, throwing the feints as you see, moving the hands, hand feints, feinting with the feet, hip feints.
Sticking and moving is Dom Heath. 3 5-minute rounds here for these two pro flyweights. Again, Joe Arroyo, only 3 amateur bouts. His AMI debut was July of last year, whereas his opponent, Dom Heath, boasts 10 amateur outings, extending all the way back to October 2020.
Nice right hand, overhand right by Arroyo. Looking to put the lights out on Heath already early. Definitely something that Heath has to be weary of and be aware of going into this fight. Nice rear hand by Heath as well.
And sticking with the jab on the exit. Despite this inexperience disparity on paper, Joe Arroyo looking like he belongs in there.
He definitely belongs in the cage. He's a very athletic kid. He has a nice pedigree and background, I believe, wrestling, and it's carrying him so far.
Heath on the outside. It's a big right hand from Arroyo.
And he's not afraid to throw that big right hand, following it up with the body kick, then the lead left hook. Definitely not afraid to stand as Arroyo.
And with this orthodox southpaw matchup here, right, Arroyo can just let that right hand go and be confident that it'll land somewhere on Dom Heath's body.
That right hand and the rear right body kick as well. Just the way everything lines up with these opposing stances.
Midway point of round number 1, Arroyo seemingly winning more of these exchanges. Dom Heath touching downstairs with a leg. Heavy hands from Arroyo. Arroyo's corner telling him just to touch him, not commit on every single punch like he has been.
I definitely think his corner knows what he's capable of. They just kind of want to restrain him a little bit, let him find his mark before he wastes a lot of energy, putting energy into punches that maybe, won't fruition.
Dom Heath with an interesting level change look right there moments ago. 2 minutes left in round number 1.
Heath doing a great job darting laterally on his way in with that left straight. Using angles, giving Arroyo something to look at even when he's not necessarily doing damage.
Arroyo going to the well many times on that touch with the left, overhand with the right. If you're Dom Heath, is that something you're starting to try and read?
Oh! Definitely starting to read it for sure, and he lands a right hand of his own and switches stances back to southpaw. Heath able to throw from both sides here.
Heath trying to go high with that head kick, nothing going. Joe Arroyo, big knockdown for Arroyo.
Big right hand, left hook by Arroyo. Stepped in, put his head down.
Dom Heath, jiu-jitsu ace, going for the leg entanglement, David.
You have to be careful with an athlete like Arroyo when you're attacking the legs. It leaves yourself vulnerable from punches on the ground, which for a second he was. Arroyo did a great job adjusting and defending. Now he's in a better position, taking the back here of Arroyo, and I think that's exactly where he wants to be.
40 seconds left for Joe Arroyo to work. Most significant moment of this round was that heavy knockdown. Dom Heath seems to have recovered, has his wits about him on the floor there. Arroyo, though, wasting no moments, trying to remain in perpetual motion. Big elbow from Arroyo.
Arroyo doing a great job in side control here, has his hips in. Great sweep there by Heath. Just when you thought he was seeing a pending trouble, a pending doom, he flips the script. No pun intended. Great sweep. Ends up on top. This is a highly competitive fight here in this first round. Beautiful knockdown by Arroyo. I think I have to give him the nod simply because of that.
Certainly the most significant moment. First round replay brought to you by Cat's Law. Dom Heath, Joe Arroyo. Kind of a chess match, but the power advantage of Joe Arroyo really beginning to present itself.
Yeah, here we have it. Just Heath on the outside, and then Arroyo able to come in and counter as Heath left that jab out there. He comes over the top with the right hand, left hook, sits Heath down. Great job by Heath, though. He was rocked, but he kind of kept his head in this game, got his defenses right on bottom, was able to get that over and under sweep there from the bottom on Arroyo. Ended the round on top, however, I don't think it'll be enough to get him the nod.
Interestingly enough, Dom Heath, first one off the stool. His corner was entirely out of the cage before Joe Arroyo had even gotten himself off his own stool, David.
I mean, that definitely helps in the mental aspect of the fight. You know, if you're on the other end, you see your opponent do that, and you're like, man, I just set him on his butt, and he's right back up. However, Arroyo has to have a confidence going into the second round, knowing that he's already almost put his opponent out.
Arroyo, takedown attempt, not going early in round two. And when you think about this mid-fight adjustment from Arroyo to add on a third strike to that really healthy, dynamic combo, I mean, that's what sat Dom Heath down.
We know Arroyo has the big right hand, as he's showing right there. But now, as you said, yeah, he has to look out for the opposite side hand, too. The nice 2-3 combo, 2-3-2 combo for Arroyo has been working.
Dom Heath again, relying on the lateral movement to enter the pocket. Doesn't seem to have the same sting on his shots. Arroyo's corner instructing him to not get too excited. Seems like he's staying pretty within himself, David.
Both of these guys are very composed. There's been a lot of action in this fight. I mean, both of them are dangerous, but both of them are still controlled in it, just looking for their opportunities. Looked like an incidental foul there on behalf of Heath.
Low blows happen, unfortunately, sometimes too frequently, David.
And that also is, you know, the stance. An issue with the stances as well, too. You see that a lot when you have the orthodox versus the southpaw.
Arroyo signaling that he is ready for the action. We resume the second round, 3:50 on the clock.
Here we have it. Heath ready to get back to action here. Jabbing his way in, switch kick attempt there. Just nice feints here by Heath. You almost never know when he's actually going to throw because his feints are throwing off the timing here of Arroyo.
Hand fighting. Nice little leg kick there from Heath on the outside. Engaging is Arroyo, swinging some hammers. Not many of them connecting on Heath in that sequence. And you can sort of tell that they are both fighting with the maturity of professionals as Dom Heath gets cracked again.
Make sure we're backing down with our chin low. Make sure you back out with your chin low.
Arroyo swinging for section 385 with that right hand.
Throw that one away and come back. Hey, 4 Peter Yan to the body. 4 Peter Yan.
Pace starting to slow down a little bit for both of these guys in the fight. I think they're both competitive. Nice left hook, right uppercut there by Arroyo. But as I said, both of these guys see how competitive their opponent is. So they're becoming a little bit more measured, maybe a little bit more patient now as to not put themselves in trouble.
I mean, that was a Hail Mary swing from Arroyo. Unsure if you need to really overcorrect yourself in that way.
No, he got a bit ahead of himself there with that right hand, was a bit off balance. I would hate for Heath to, see that, pick up that timing as you spoke to earlier and start to counter.
Ooh.
As Arroyo loads up on these punches. Nice body shot.
Arroyo mixing up the levels. 2 minutes left. Heath finds a right hand of his own. But there is just a difference in impact when Arroyo connects versus Heath, David.
Definitely the power. Arroyo has the power advantage when it comes to the striking. But Heath is still in it. When he does strike, he's dynamic. Powerful double leg by Arroyo. And we spoke to that athleticism, and we just see shades of it right now. He takes Heath down. Great move by pushing Heath back and head against the cage, which is going to keep him pinned down and maybe help Arroyo with the ground and pound aspect when he's on the ground. But Heath threatening an arm bar here.
We can't forget the 4 submission victories that Dom Heath possesses, trying his best to entangle up Arroyo. But Joe Arroyo, wise to it all as we head to the final 60-second stretch of round number 2. It's just so impressive to me that Joe Arroyo, with 3 amateur fights, David Evans, is really outskilling a guy like Dom Heath.
Speaking of skills, Heath looking to transition to that arm bar. Look for him to maybe switch his hips over to the far side of the head of Arroyo and look to flip him over and isolate that arm. He could be dangerous here.
Arroyo fighting with everything he's made of. 30 seconds to go. He's stacking Heath.
Arroyo needs to get his right elbow past the hips of Heath here so he's out of danger. Maybe look for him to start shucking and posturing up, getting his hips in. However, Heath is adamant on stretching that arm out, and he's in a good position right now to do so.
Arroyo falling forward, 10 seconds. Dom Heath trying to crank with everything he has.
Don't grab the gloves.
Joe Arroyo making it to the 3rd round, but that is a glimpse at what the grappling of Dom Heath looks like, David.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely dangerous, man. You can't rest on top there. I think Arroyo thought he was in a good dominant position. However, he switched his hips, locked up that arm bar, and it was tight. Here we have Arroyo measuring that hand-to-hand combat, hand fighting, as you typically see with the orthodox and southpaw stances here. Arroyo did a great job going to the body with the left hook afterwards, and we saw that powerful double leg takedown by Arroyo. And just when you thought that Arroyo was going to dominate here because he's the wrestler, he's a pressure guy, he throws up the legs, isolates that arm, he gets the arm bar. I think he just ran out of time. I mean, who's to know with another 10 seconds or so where we would be right now.
And if you're in round number 3 and you're in Joe Arroyo's corner, I feel like I might be saying, hey, go to the body a bit more. That left hook that cracked the ribs was so clean. I feel like that could be something that Dom Heath hasn't seen yet.
Now you guys can hug.
Nice display of sportsmanship as we come to the final 5 minutes of this flyweight clash between 2 debuting professionals, Joe Arroyo and Dom Heath.
As 2 debuting fighters, I mean, both of these guys they're starting off at a high level.
Nice uppercut, over swing from Heath on the counter. Just really strong distance management from Joe Arroyo, which is deeply impressive considering he's got a 3-inch reach disadvantage, David.
Yeah, he's definitely not shying away from staying in the pocket here on Heath. He's walking him down, controlling the hand fighting portion with the 2 lead hands here, just keeping his left hand on the right hand there of Heath to time and keep him at the end of his right hand as well, that big bomb right hand that we saw him land earlier. But unfortunately, we are starting to see as the round goes on, he's loading up a lot, he's putting a lot into these punches, and he's putting himself off balance.
Beautiful kick there from Joe Arroyo. In my estimation, Dom Heath might need a stoppage to get his hand raised tonight.
I'd agree with you, Ben. Heath would need a stoppage. I mean, we know he's capable of it at this point. We've seen him threaten with the submissions. He's landed some good strikes on his own, and, you know, he's capable of doing it on the feet and on the ground.
Heath needs a lot more of that as he tries to rely once again on that lateral movement to get on the inside, but just very low volume from Dominic Heath here in round number 3.
Nice elbow there by Heath. Step in, lead elbow. Would definitely love to see more of that as this round progresses.
Joe Arroyo testing the guard with the jab, penetrating through to the chin. Coming to the midway point of this 3rd and final round, Joe Arroyo touching the guard, not committing. Dom Heath, no volume or urgency from him to try and stop Joe Arroyo.
No, not as yet. We were seeing some tricky elbows. I thought he was going to kind of build off that, as it did give Arroyo some pause. However, Arroyo doing his thing, controlling the lead hand there, measuring. Oh, throwing that right hand a little bit too much there, and Heath able to time it and counter. If you're Heath at this point, it's just about throwing combinations, keeping Arroyo stepping back, and he needs to take control of this fight here.
Left hook.
Nice left hook by Arroyo.
And Heath unable to effectively respond with offense of his own. He's just been a step behind in the striking, David.
I think at this point it's probably a cardio thing, because we see that he does have the capability. He's not so far out of the fight that he's timid. I think maybe he's just a bit tired and, you know, exhaustion is stepping in.
Nice right hand from Dom Heath. Backs off and resets to the center.
And where Heath was having success with his striking early in the fight was when he was using angles. He was stepping out, using his lateral movement. Now he seems to be more comfortable fighting in front of Arroyo, but then the output isn't there.
Heath again trying to jab his way into the pocket. Nice body kick from him there. Again, Arroyo slips right out of the way of the strike from Heath. Final 70 seconds.
60 seconds left here. If you're Heath, now is the time to put the pedal to the metal. Maybe look for a takedown. You saw you had some success on the ground.
Dom Heath with, again, some interesting level changes. Almost reminds me of Tony Ferguson throwing sand, David.
Arroyo now showing the feints. Feinting the leg attack, coming up top with the hand feints as well. Right now is the time for someone to put a statement on this fight.
Final 30 seconds, Arroyo gets the takedown. Dom Heath, though, wrapping up the neck.
20 seconds left. He has the neck here on the guillotine with Arroyo standing. I think Arroyo's doing exactly what he should do right now in this position. Keep him up. You don't want to allow him to stretch you out right now and attack the guillotine.
Dom Heath trying to re-guard on the body of Joe Arroyo. Arroyo carrying him around like groceries. What a performance from the flyweights. In all likelihood, Joe Arroyo extends his win streak to 3 overall and kicks off his pro career with a really fun striking display. This replay brought to you by Cat's Law. Arroyo, just really unique, creative striking. Dom Heath incorporated some elbows, had the counters, but just didn't have enough gas in the tank to throw more volume, David.
And I mean, I was impressed by Arroyo with the combinations and everything he was able to put together, along with the wrestling. And even though right here, as we saw to the closing of the fight, even though Arroyo was in dominant positions, Heath was never out of the fight. Whenever he was on his back, he was threatening submissions. Whenever he was in the air, he was threatening positions. I mean, I'm very much impressed by Heath, but I'm even more impressed by Arroyo. The time and the distance he's covered in such a short amount of time, the layers he's added in such a short amount of time as well.
And discipline, right? In those final 30 seconds, when he had Heath up in the air, I feel a lot of guys that are maybe more inexperienced would slam onto the canvas and maybe push themselves further into the guillotine. Arroyo, not even concerned in the slightest, remained composed, and in all likelihood will kick off his pro career undefeated. I love it. What a fun fight between these 125ers for the official decision. Let's send it back inside to handsome Michael Hansen.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. The judges scored the contest 30-27, 29-28, and 30-27. All for your winner by unanimous decision, Joe Arroyo.
A knockdown in the first round and then a very polished display in rounds 2 and 3. Checked all the boxes in his pro debut, David.